Again, good afternoon, everybody. So we will start the next presentation offered by Professor Jamal Khan in Menafia University in Egypt. He is so he's when we met the first time, so he said to me he is the first geoarchaeologist professor. Geoarchaeology maybe he will introduce. Actually, so last month we have a very small party in my house with Professor Jamal Khan and my student. They about the hazards. A very big hazard like from our presentation by India. So I have several students from foreign countries. Bangladesh, there was a big cycle. Okay, cycle. Also in Myanmar. In Japan, there was a very big earthquake last year. How about in Egypt? Only a short building is the most serious hazard, so he said so. Okay. Now.
I don't speak in Japanese, just introduction. Watashi wa Jamal desu. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Jamal Khan, a professor of geoarchaeology, Menafia, Egypt. I have got my PhD from a channel cooperation between Egypt and Chester University, England. Then in 2002 and 2003, I have got scholarship funded by UNESCO, and then go to America, funded by National Science Foundation. Then 2 scholarships funded by DAD to Germany. And finally, it was my big dream and nice dream to come to Japan, and then I have got it funded by GSBS. My list of publication is about 30 international journals, papers in international journals, and this is my email. First of all, I would like to express my deep thanks to GSBS as well as to Geosphere Research Institute, in particular to Professor Dr. Ogechi Sensei for holding me for 10 months through my scholarship, and all staff at GRES. And after we have listened to the previous lecture talking about the natural hazards, which makes even my heart is bleeding to see a country flooded like this, I would like to take you in 40 minutes or a little bit more talking about Egyptian history. I know to talk about history of a country extended back to more than 8,000 years before present is very difficult. We take many years to speak about our history, but I will do a simple presentation to deep into ancient Egyptian history and how was the ancient Egyptians has latest branches of science since thousands of years ago. Before I talk why people are interested in the Egyptian history, why we are talking about Egyptian history, simply because this present day generations, even me, we are the ancestors of 7,500 years before present people, so our history is extended. It has not been cut during this long time. Egypt or Egyptian remains has proved their intelligence in the building pyramids and other structures which we can see today. Also, the river Nile, which we have until now, which is not flooding Egypt or make any troubles for Egypt, has its fingerprint on our nature, and I will show this in the last slide. And Egypt has more than 1/3 of the whole world archaeological sites, so that's why Egypt can be an interesting country to go to visit or just to listen to our history. I used to do this presentation, not the same presentation, but talking about our history wherever I go for the young generations, maybe they are not able to travel for thousands of kilometers distance from their country, America or Japan, to Egypt, just to listen how the history looks like in the Middle East. Also, maybe as sensei, you may be busy, so you have no time. So this is a good chance to know each other. Our talk will be focused on simply on 3 points. The general classification of the Egyptian history, how it looks like, how it is divided. The second thing, the main pharaohs during the dynasty of the Egyptian history. And I mean, in my talk about the dynasty, mean the royal family, which was holding Egypt for a certain period of time. And the other point, which is also related to my topic, how was the ancient Egyptian people intelligent in using engineering geology, which we are now dealing with these sciences, wall paintings, and astronomy? Did they have an idea about astronomy? We will see how they were intelligent since thousands of years ago. General classification of the Egyptian history. Our history in Egypt is classified into 2 major groups. Before dynastic epoch, this is called also Stony Age, because the ancient Egyptians were using the stone, natural stone, for doing all of their life purposes, for life in nature or life during war. So they use the stone. This is called Stony Age. It is extended back to about 8,700 years before present. The other major part is called dynastic epoch, which extended to 31 dynasty, from the dynasty, the first one, to the 31 dynasty. This is about 3,500 years length. And after these 2 major parts, the Greco-Roman people invaded Egypt and came to Egypt, and they also have some remains. I will show you something about them. And Ptolemaic Age, and then the Coptic religion, Christianity, came to Egypt, then Islam finally. This is Egypt. It is found in the northeast part of Africa continent. It is a square shape. The length and the width is 1,000 kilometers and 1,000 kilometers, so it is 1 million square kilometers. The main feature in Egypt, it is bounded by the Mediterranean Sea in the north and the Red Sea in the east, and Sudan in the south and Libya in the west. And the river Nile, it cuts Egypt into 2 parts, Eastern Desert and Western Desert. Eastern Desert is dry, with the exception of some oases in the Western Desert. Some of them has water and vegetation and some interesting primitive life. But since thousands of years ago until now, the whole Egyptian people are living around the river Nile, and we are now about 85 million people living in Egypt on this, about 4% of the Egyptian land. Our language in Egypt is Arabic language. How was the ancient Egyptian classify the year? The year at ancient Egyptian is 365 days as today, as we do today. But they have only 3 seasons, not 4 seasons. It is called flooding season, because the river Nile was flooding east and west. And this season is called Akhet. And by the way, the word Akhet, it is used now in Germany, not now, I mean it is German word taken from our language, and Akhet means number 8. And this is the start and end time of Akhet season. And the winter season is called Bret. And Bret, this word is still used by us today. When we feel cold, we say we are Bret. So this is ancient Egyptian word, and this is the start and end time. And then the summer season, which is called Shmu by the ancient Egyptian language, is called Shmu. And this is the start and the end. And the ancient Egyptians were calculating the daytime and the night time, not by the watch like us today, but they use the sun clock and the water clock for the daytime and the night time. We will start with the Stony Age, pre-dynastic or prehistory period. In that age, as I said, the ancient Egyptians have been used the stone for all life purposes. And they were struggling against the nature because they have no facilities. They have no good idea how can they deal with the life. They used to put their dead bodies in the tombs in one of 2 positions. Either they are put the body on the left side sleeping, or looks like the baby in the womb of the mom. And I will show now some of the tombs of this pre-dynastic epoch. It is found in Asyut city. The other thing about related to this one, that the recent researches about the pre-dynastic period, even me, I did this research. It is currently, I do this now. We prove that the ancient Egyptian has a good idea about soil properties even in the Stone Age. Why? Because the tombs of the ancient Egyptian, they excavate these tombs, which I will show here. This one, this is related. This is an Asyut city. It takes a spherical shape, looks like the universe. They also have an idea about the universe, so they made the tomb looks like universe from inside, like sphere. And when we tested, me and other people tested the soil properties here, and to the nearby area there is also plateau. It has no tombs. So why the Egyptian people use this plateau and not the other one? This one is stable, it has no expensive clay minerals, but the other one has a smectite, which is expensive clay mineral. So we suggest that they have an idea about the soil properties. During that period, also the ancient Egyptian, in addition to their knowledge about soil properties, they have an idea about the afterlife. That after death, one day the people will be alive again. And I will show one of the slides can prove this one. The afterlife can be proved by two things. The first thing, that the aperture or the entrance of these tombs, of all the tombs, is it is directed to the west direction. The entrance is directed to the west direction. And during our history, everything related to the afterlife is related to the west direction. Why? Because the east side direction is the life direction. But the west side direction looks like the end of the day, sunrise and sunset. So sunrise, people feel happy, but sunset is the end of the day. Also, they make this aperture always directed to the west direction. The other thing which can prove their knowledge about the afterlife, some of the remains here in one of the tombs, these remains are made from clay, burned clay, and some people in Egypt still use something like this. And these things can be used for putting food inside, and this is for drinking water. So this means that they believe that the dead bodies may be alive again, and they need such equipments to survive themselves. During that period, there is no writings, no drawings. The ancient Egyptians have no idea how they can write their history on the walls or Bardi paper as happened after. This area has some tombs which nobody is caring with this. So in my paper, I wrote that we must care with this part of our history, because if it is demolished, so no one will know about this sector. Moving from the Stony Age or pre-dynastic age or pre-writing age, this is called different names for that period, we are moved to the dynastic epoch. It is called dynastic epoch because the royal family in Egypt, at every time we have a royal family with the pharaohs and with the queen who are ruled Egypt. This 31 dynastic are extended to 3,500 years. We start with the first century, with the first and second dynasty. It is called Thini Age. Thini Age because the capital of Egypt was here in the south of Egypt, city called Thini. That's why it is called Thini Age. In that period, the Egyptians started to know an idea about writing, about painting, about inscriptions, so they can record the history of the king or queen on the walls, on papers like Bardi papers, this is natural plant. So they can record the history of the king or queen on the Bardi paper. And I will explain what is this Bardi paper, where they have got it. This is not original one. The paper is original. This is plant. But these drawings are not original, because the original one, we are not allowed to take it. This is in Egypt. So the ancient Egyptians, since that time, they started to know these things and recording our history on the walls. The most famous pharaohs in the first dynasty, his name is Mina. And Mina, before Mina, Egypt was two kingdoms. the lower kingdom and upper kingdom. But when Mina came, he unified Egypt into one kingdom. Okay, Mina from Upper Egypt, this is called Upper Egypt or south of Egypt. Upper because topography, this is high and this is low, so the river water running in this direction, that's why we call Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. People in the north didn't accept that somebody come from the south to be the pharaohs for them. This is behavior of the people. But he was a very intelligent person to unify Egypt into one kingdom. So he is the first person to do this. Another pharaoh, his name is Ger. He wrote a book about the human body physiology. So you can see since thousands of years ago, we have a document indicating our pharaohs, since thousands of years, they have an idea about body physiology. And the pharaohs, Wagi, he sent groups into eastern desert of Egypt to look for the gemstones and the gold and other things. So they have an idea about using the minerals, how they can extract the minerals. Why? To make some jewelries and some nice things for the wife of the king. So some decoration can be done. So they have an idea about exploration of the places for gemstones. The second dynasty, the most famous of them is called Neb-Ra. And the word Ra means sun in the sky. And this pharaoh, he was the first one who gave an importance of the sun. So since his time, the people started to pray for the sun as a god. And you will see with me now that the pharaohs coming after Neb-Ra, their name is always ended by Ra. So because they believe the sun, so the name is ended by Ra. We have moved from the first and second dynasty to the third and fourth and fifth dynasty. And this period has its criteria. That's why it's called the age of building pyramids, extending from the third to the sixth dynasty. And this is the extension back years from present. Since that time, it is highly characterized or named also Manfi age. Why? Because as you remember now, I said the first and second dynasty is called Thini age because the capital was here. But during that period, the capital has been changed to the north, which is called Manf, that's called Manfi age. This is the reason. In the third dynasty, we have 6 pharaohs. The most important of them is called Zoser or Nefer-Akhet. This is pharaonic names. Nefer-Akhet means the holy body, means his body looks like God. That's why they call it Nefer-Akhet by the ancient Egyptian language. This pharaoh has built the first and immense pyramid in the Egyptian history. It is called Step Pyramid. This is for Nefer-Akhet. And this is the first shape of the pyramid, and his engineer, Imhotep engineer, he was an intelligent engineer for the pharaohs Nefer-Akhet or Zoser. He built the pyramid looks like tomb for the king. All of the pyramids are tombs for the kings or queens. So he made this pyramid into just one plateau. This is his idea. But because he was a religious engineer, he said, okay, I want to go to the sky, to go to the God. So how can I reach to the top? He made another plateau and another plateau. And so it is 6 plateaux over each other. They are very wide and then short and short and short. The total height is 60 meters high. It is made from small blocks of limestone, but it is not good durability, but okay, it is more than 3,000 years. So it is withered now, and we have a project to protect this step pyramid. It's called step pyramid or Saqqara pyramid. This is the description of this pyramid. After Zoser, we came to the 4th dynasty, which everybody in the world know the 4th dynasty by the 3 pyramids of Egypt. The first king, his name is Senefru, then Khufu, which maybe everybody know the pyramid of Khufu, and Gedefra, and Khafra, and Gedefhur, and Bau Ifra, and Minkaura, and Shipseskef. The highlighted ones are the very famous of them. And you can see here the part Ra, which came from the second dynasty, means the sun. We have no much idea about them, but the main remains for these pharaohs is their pyramids. For example, Senefro has his pyramid. It's called broken edge pyramid or bent pyramid. Also, he has the spirit pyramid, something related to the spirit, and also the red pyramid because it is built from red limestone. Once more, this broken edge pyramid, this is an image. This one, this image, this is called bent pyramid or broken pyramid because they were trying to develop the shape of the pyramid from step pyramid to the real shape of pyramid. So the engineer was not so clever. So he made the edges of the pyramid, the edge of the pyramid not properly done. So the angle was not good. That's why the building started to fall down again. And he continued building the pyramid above this bent edge. That's why the final shape looks like somebody who is bending. It's called bent pyramid. After him, we came to the King Khufu and Khafra and Munkara. Khufu, he built his pyramid, the three pyramids in Giza. Here, the three pyramids, this one, which everybody know, this is the major pyramid at Giza Governorate, and beside it, we may see another pyramid, this one, Khufu and Khafra, and to the far extreme, Munkara, the three pyramids everybody know. This big pyramid, it is built from limestone blocks. Every block of the limestone, it is immense in its dimension. It weighs 2,000 kilograms, and its height is 146 height. So the people researching in this field, they are wondering how the Egyptian people were able to carry these big blocks into 146 meter height. No idea. We have many theories about this. Some people say that the Egyptian people used what's called anti-gravity theory, means that they were able to make the gravity zero on this limestone block, so the weight is zero weight, so they can carry it very easy and after putting, the gravity comes again. This is imaginary, right? This is not reality. I can't believe this. Other people say that the ancient Egyptians have used the oxes to pull this limestone blocks upward, and then they put it on sand piles. But to pull these major blocks of limestone to this height, you need very long way or slope to take these stones to this height. So one of the researchers said this is not artificial stone. This is Egyptian have used mold, and they have crushed limestone and resin material and mixed together, looks like concrete, and they pour it in this mold, and after drying, so they take it off, and the next one and the next one. This is also not real because he said we will find resin inside this stone, but some researchers take samples and examine under the microscope. There is no resin. This is not stone. So until now, we have no clear idea how the ancient Egyptians took this stone upward direction. Also, the ancient Egyptian people were intelligent because these limestone blocks, there is no mortar in between like we do today. They have used what's called high polishing of the stone surface. So, and they put on each other, looks like refrigerator, so the blocks are stick with each other without mortar. This is what's happening. In this side direction, so in this side exactly at this part, there is entrance from here. It is open for tourists, and I myself went inside this pyramid, and you will find a channel upward to this part where the room of the King Khufu was buried. His body is not found here. It is in the Egyptian museum now. So it is empty. Everybody can go have a look for the decoration, for some paintings of this king. This channel or this way inside this pyramid is short in its height. And they have an idea. The ancient Egyptians have done this because they wanted to do something. They wanted to tell the people, anybody go to the room of the king, he must be bent like this. Some sort of respect for the king, even when he is dying. So this is intelligent from them. To the east direction of this pyramid, at this part, there is a small 3 pyramids, not so high pyramids. This is for the 3 wives of the king Khufu. He was married from 3 women. This is for the east direction. And far here, we will see later, or just now, the Sphinx in front of this area. But to the west direction here, there is a small tombs for the sons and for the people working for the king Khufu. So always for the king, they built a huge building like this. The history say, or some people say, that the ancient Egyptians built this pyramid and other pyramids by force. The king was forcing the people to build them. No. The reality and the scientific people say, if I enforce somebody to do something for me, he will not do properly like this. So if a structure properly done like this means that we love the king, we want to do something for him, and not only that, because there is good engineers looking after buildings, so it has not been done haphazardly. No, it is well organized under certain plan of construction. They took 20 years to build this big pyramid. It is not 20 years continuous. It is just during the flooding time. Why? Because the quarry from which they took the stone to build this pyramid, during flooding time, the water comes very close to this plateau. So by the ships, they can carry the stone in the ships until they reach to this part and then put and build the pyramid. So that's why it takes long time, 20 years. This is a close view for one of the small pyramids of the queen of the Khufu wives. We have 3. And in front of the Khafra, which is the second pyramid, which is the son of Khufu here and Khafra here, we can see the Sphinx. Sphinx is not a structure has been built. It is carved. The engineers during building the second pyramid, which is called Khafra for the second king, they want to carry the stone from here, from the ships, to reach to the place where they make the second pyramid. But there is a limestone plateau, they can't move. That's why one of the engineers say, okay, I will do carving, I will make a channel for the people to move to this place. And suddenly, or by chance, he found that the limestone, this is limestone, natural limestone. By chance, he found something with head and body like this. And he started to make a shape for this head and looks like human being, and for the rest of the body looks like lion sitting in front of the pyramids. The face of the Sphinx is facing to the east direction, and it has 2 meanings as the ancient Egyptian. The first thing, he is looking to the sun every day, so he is looking into the light every day, this Sphinx. And the other thing, they say the Sphinx is protecting the area behind, the pyramids behind. Looks like a bodyguard for this area. This Sphinx has been recently affected by salt weatherings. That's why there is a project, and still 10 years ago, still a project erected to protect the lower part, but this is not good solution from the conservation field of view. Because in 1992, there is conference in Cairo, and it was holding about 500 scientists from everywhere in the world. And one of the professors, not necessarily to mention his name here, he was responsible for this project. And he said, I'm quoting the Sphinx from outside by limestone blocks to protect him from salt weathering. But this is not good solution, because still the water coming from blue here inside the body of the Sphinx, and it is attacking the Sphinx and attack even the new stone. So this is not good way for restoration, because he is not specialized in restoration. This is close view for the Sphinx from the back. Looks like tail of the lion here. I have not my story, I have a story about the Sphinx, that one of the kings of Egypt in 18th dynasty, very late dynasties, very recent dynasties, his name Imhotep III, and he was still not the king of Egypt, and he was something moving in this area, and it was very hot weather at that day. And he said, okay, I will sleep under the shade of this head. The whole body was covered by sand because it is arid environment, so there is wind and sand. So this Sphinx has been covered many times by sand. And this pharaoh said, okay, I will sleep under the head of this stone, and he wrote this on basalt sheet. And he has a dream that this structure say to him, if you take off the sand away from my body to make me breathe, you will be king of Egypt. And when he became king or pharaoh of Egypt, he said, I will record this history on a basaltic sheet, which is called, everybody knows, it's called Dream Stela. Dream Stela is basaltic sheet on which the dream of this pharaoh has been written. And he put this Dream Stela between the two arms of the Sphinx here, Sphinx like this. So he put it in the chest to make everybody read this story. So this is called Dream Stela. We move from the highly known dynastic from Khufu, Khafra, and Mankara. Egypt has been moved to the 5th and 6th dynasty. And as everybody knows, that the life, even us, we are not always strong, we are not always weak. So the curve of the life starts from weak to the strong to the weak again, and so on. This is the life. So Egypt has been moved from the very strong, very powerful, very advanced country to the 5th and 6th dynasty. The pharaohs were not able to control Egypt. The economy was going very bad, so Egypt is going down during the 5th and 6th dynasty. That's why Egypt has been moved to the first transition, non-central control period, which extends from the 7th to the 10th dynasty. In that period, the pharaohs of Egypt, during these three periods, were not able to control Egypt, to protect the borders of Egypt. The economy is going very bad. That's why the ancient Egyptians started to make revolution against those pharaohs. We can mention simply why this first revolution take place in our history. First of all, because of the weakness of the pharaohs. He was not good enough to control Egypt. The economy was going very bad. That's why the people became poor people, and the borders were not safe enough. That's why people coming from outside Egypt to inside. But again, Egypt has been moved to a strong period, which is called Middle Kingdom. It is 11th and 12th dynasty, and this is the name of the pharaohs who became responsible to recover the stability and politics of Egypt and have again good relation with the neighbors, with the neighbor countries. So Egypt became safe again. But again, Egypt during this 13th and to 17th dynasty have been exposed to a second revolution. And during these revolutions, we have no good record about our history. It is not written what had happened during this period. That's why I didn't mention anything about them. Because during the revolution, you have no time. The people are not interested to write what happened during this period. So in the rich dynasties, we can record things, we can decorate, we can draw, we can paint. But during that period, the people have no time. They have no good mentality to do things. In Egypt, move again to the recent kingdom. From the 18th to the 23rd dynasty, it became very powerful country, and this is the name of the good pharaohs. Just I want you to remember with me, because we will talk about Hatshepsut. She was a queen of Egypt, and she built many structures in Egypt. Looks like Temple of Dir Bahri. I will show image about her temple. And Tutankhamun, Akhenaton, he was the first one who believed in one God. Before him, people believed in many gods. So he believed in one God, and he gave the name of God Aton, which is the last part of his name. And Ramses II, he is well known in our history, and also I will show you something about Ramses. So just remember with me, Hatshepsut and Ramses II, we will see something about them. After them, the Greek-Roman invade Egypt, coming from the north, from Europe, invade Egypt, and they control some parts of Egypt, especially the north coast of the Mediterranean Sea here, and they left some remains here in Egypt, representing their presence. This is Greek-Roman remains in Alexandria. It is on the coast of Mediterranean Sea. This is limestone or little limestone plateau, and this is high granitic needle, and this is Roman structure. So this is Greek-Roman archaeological site, and beside this is our recent buildings. So it is nice to see the recent buildings beside the historical, but it is not good for the historical area because from the weathering processes, salt weathering and domestic water and many problems came to this area. This is another part of Greco-Roman period in Alexandria also city. It is excavated 20-meter depth in the Oolitic limestone bedrock. This is called Qom Shu'afa, tomb of Qom Shu'afa area. And you can see here some representation of the place where the king has been buried. And this is the tomb, and they represent this ox is looking inside here to see if this dead body has done good work in his life or bad work, if he will go to fire or heaven. So this is their imagination, how the life after life will be, how will be he judged. But we must speak about Hatshepsut, which I told you to remember as a famous pharaoh in our history. Hatshepsut ruled Egypt in 17th dynasty. She is the first and powerful woman. This clarifies that in Egypt, because some people say in Egypt the man is only the owner and the woman has nothing, no duty, she is zero. No. Since our history, long time ago, the man and the woman respect each other. She is a powerful woman, and Egypt became very stable and very advanced, and she has a powerful army. Also, she made many international trading relationships outside Egypt, and also she asked her engineers to do what's called unfinished obelisk, and this is image of this obelisk of Hatshepsut. It is found in Aswan, which is south of Egypt, and it is carved in granitic bedrock, but during the final preparation it has been cracked, so they are not able to take it off from the bedrock and make it stand like this. So that's why it is left since that time until now, and people coming and see how this major structure has been carved in a very hard granitic rocks. This is also for Hatshepsut, the queen of Egypt. This is called Temple of Dir Bahal of Hatshepsut. It is found in Luxor city, and Luxor city has itself more than 1/3 of archaeological sites of the world. It is highly historical city in south of Egypt. And her temple here is three floor, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And behind looks like panorama of shale and limestone related to Eocene, Paleocene and Eocene geologic age. It may be the situation is dangerous because this is highly fractured limestone. So UNESCO, I highly respected, they take responsibility to make some studies how they can protect this temple from this cracked stone. Hatshepsut died at the age of 50 and recently the people working in the surgery or some analysis, they found that she was suffering from cancer which was spreading in her body. And she asked, if I did, I would like to be buried with my father, tombed in Luxor, West Bank. Tutankhamun, he was also a powerful king of Egypt. And the main reason that his tomb include highly priceless gemstones and fine arts, that's why make him well known worldwide. He has many things, but this is very important for him. Ramses II, or the great Ramses, he's also powerful pharaoh in 19th dynasty. He ruled Egypt for 66 years and he died at 99. His fine art everywhere indicates that he was a good pharaoh. This is one of his fine art. And I would like to mention to you that the ancient Egyptian colors are one of the highly stable colors in the world. I mean, with time, whatever the time go, the color is not changed. But even with our technology today, if you paint this wall, after 2 or 3 years, the color is changed by photochemical degradation. But the ancient Egyptian colors, nobody knows how and why. The color never changed. It can be detached by weathering process. But at the parts where we can see the color, it is stable with its original color. This indicates the intelligence of Egyptian people. This is at Abu Simbel, the temple of Abu Simbel, for Ramses II, which we are talking about him. This temple has a very unique structure. It is excavated, it is carved in sandstone plateau, but it has in the ceiling of this temple 2 holes. These 2 holes allow the sunlight to go through to the room of the king only on 2 days every year. But the rest of the year, this light doesn't come through. And these 2 days are the day of birthday of Ramses II and the day in which Ramses II became a pharaoh for Egypt. So also this indicates the ancient Egyptian has good computation how the sunlight direction, which the hole's direction should be, the orientation to make this sunlight only on 2 days every year. But the rest of the year, the light direction never go to this way. This is the status of his face, Ramses II, and this is the upper part of his temple, and some monks are sitting here, looks like praying for him. Or this is also another part of the fine art for Ramses II. You can see here very interesting thing. This is the Ramses II while some women were feeding him as a baby from the breast of this here. His head here is a woman breast and she is feeding him, and that one is playing with him, giving him some joking, and also this one is doing so, and also the name of the king is written here. So the ancient Egyptian would like to record everything on the stones. You can ask yourself or ask me how the ancient Egyptian can make some very fine art which lived thousands of years ago until now without deformation. They must have very fine material to give this nice painting. This red color from the bats recently. This is not original. Ramses II focused on building cities, temples, monuments, and the temple of Abu Simbel, as we explained, the sunlight only go on the 21st of October and 21st of February. Only these 2 days the sunlight can go through. Cleopatra, she was also one of the Ptolemaic age queens of Egypt. She ruled Egypt. And in our history, you can see always Ramses II, Ramses III, the first, the second, the third. So in our history, I don't know why they like to say, if my name is Jamal, so my son is Jamal first, Jamal second, and so on. So they like this. So that's why we can see Cleopatra second, third, and fourth. This is generations. This is Nefertiti, also one of the queens of Egypt. Her name, she has many names. The lady of the 2 lands. 2 lands mean Lower Egypt and Upper Egypt. The lady, the mistress of Upper and Lower Egypt. And she had her bust. This one, it is made from limestone and decorated. And because it is valuable and it has a good structure, which year it became the symbol of Berlin University in Germany. They have this symbol for Nefertiti, queen. In Luxor city also you can see the 2 statues like this. This is for Amenhotep III on the west bank of Luxor city. It is made from quartzitic sandstone, and this highly fractured parts of them, they are typical to each other for Amenhotep III. This high fracture has a reason, because the king who came after this one, he wanted to destroy the history of Amenhotep III. So he asked the people to fire these 2 structures, and after 1 or 2 days of continuous firing, the stone is very hot. He asked them to throw water on it, so it is changed from very hot stone to very cold one, so it is fractured. This is the way to destroy. I will have only 1 or 2 slides to show how the ancient Egyptians have an idea about engineering geology. It is represented in the pyramid structure, in the excavation of tombs, and also in the high durability of the stones which they use for their structure. In the medicine, as I mentioned, they wrote a book since the second dynasty about the body physiology. They have an idea about astronomy, and this is the reality about Abu Simbel temple for the Ramses II, as I explained now. They have an idea about geology because they have durable stones, and also they were able to extract the gemstones from the eastern desert. They have an idea about the physics. They have an idea about the radioactive material. They put radioactive material inside the king, not for everybody, to make and put him in the tomb. And after closing the tomb, the radioactive material started to make, giving out the radioactive material. So if someone is open this tomb, the radiation is very high dose, so nobody can take the jewelries or the body of the king, so he will die directly. This is, people know today, the curse of pharaohs. It is not curse, it is radioactive material. They have an idea about mathematics. They have about mining geology, about wall paintings, which I said now is highly stable during this long time. This is a very interesting one. How the Egyptians were making their inscriptions. How they made this one. Firstly, they started to make a paper sheet on the stone, and they start to draw. And you can see here everything is drawing perfectly. And after drawing, they start to carve with the material. So it is not directly carved, but it has many steps. This is also very interesting because in this tomb, you can say that if we take off this door, we can go to the tomb inside. This is not a real gate. This is a false gate. So they make also some false gates to make, if somebody wants to go inside and steal the jewelry or do something wrong, whatever he do, he take off this one, he will find stone after stone after stone. So this is false. So they are thinking how they can protect. Finally, what is the River Nile has its fingerprint on the Egyptians. The River Nile, since thousands of years ago, made the people until now with hospitality. This is the nature of the Egyptians. The River Nile learned the people how can they make irrigation, and what is the periods for irrigation, because we have periods for irrigation, others for flooding. Also learn the people how they make ships to travel from north to south. Also there is natural plant growing around the River Nile. So the ancient Egyptians learned how they can use this natural plant to make this barley paper. And this is natural one, so we have these two directions, this one and this one, because it is natural. And they started to decorate and write by the hieroglyphic. This is hieroglyphic writings. It is similar to the ancient language. So it learned them the industry of barley paper, recording the history on it. Also how they can make channels, how they can make fishing, how they can avoid natural disasters like flooding, how they can make dams and so on. So the river has its fingerprint on our ancient Egyptians. We can speak about our history very simply like this. It takes time, and this is our flag in Egypt. But you may say, is anything else we can talk about? Yes. How the life looks like? I will not talk because we have no time. But you can say, how the life looks like today? What is the natural hazards in Egypt? We have no natural hazards. The only thing which we have in 1992 is the Egyptian earthquake, and it was 4.5 by Richter scale. So for us, it is earthquake, but it is, I think for Japan, it is nothing, 4.5. And we have no floods. In Egypt, you can find different branches of research. That's like salt weathering, which is common everywhere because of the domestic water and shortage of water, not flooding. And also you can ask, is there a similarity in pronunciation in Arabic words with Japanese, in Arabic letters with the Japanese letters? Yes, because I started to learn hiragana and katakana because I like Japanese language. And in Egypt, our idea about Japanese language is exactly as your idea about Arabic language. So it is very rare people to speak Japanese. And before I came here, the Japanese words looks like just, dash, 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 which is kanji. We imagine how it looks like, how they pronounce. So when I started learning hiragana and katakana, I found the pronunciation is typically the same. Because, please, if you turn on the light, simply, I will not take long time. if we have a letter in Egypt like alif and ba and ta, if this alif is put dash up, this looks like a, and if it is down like this, it's like e, and so on. And the ba with dash up, it looks like ba, and ba with dash do, it's like b, and so on. So I can write many, typically the same pronunciation. It is different in shape, it is different in everything, but pronunciation is the same, a, e, o, a, and so on. So it is very interesting to find this similarity. Nobody spoke about even with me before that there is similarity, but I found this similarity, which is very interesting for me. Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you for this.
Thank you very much, Professor. And maybe you understand Egypt is very, very long history. Do you have any questions about history and the techniques in the ancient Egypt?
So, I want to ask two points. One is, please tell me the geological reason why one plateau was covered with a soil, including cemetery, but others no cemetery. Is there why?
It is geologically well known that if you have strata like this, so the deposition environment, it can be changed from the shallow marine environment to medium to deep marine environment, and the phases is changed from sandy to sandy clay to clay soil. So this is lateral extension geologically, as geologists know, and even I know because I'm originally geologist. So it is laterally changed. So the ancient Egyptian had to choose the place or the plateau which is sand and silt and the clay, but the clay doesn't have smectite. They didn't prove, they didn't say that we have done X-ray analysis, scanning electron microscope. They didn't say this because it was even during the Stony Age where they have no idea how they can write, at least. But with our research, we found this is no smectite, here is smectite, here is tombs, here no tombs. So that's why we give an explanation for this.
So about the rock type is the same.
The same.
Deposition
is different. So we ask ourselves why this and not why this.
And another one is you said about step type pyramid.
Step
it
pyramid.
is a tomb. But I heard some researchers said pyramid is not a tomb. Maybe some structure related to the astronomy or something like that. Is it really true?
Yeah, actually it is a tomb for the pharaohs, only for the pharaohs, even not for the wives of the pharaohs, because as I show in my slide, the Khufu wives, they have 3 small pyramids, but always the major is for the pharaohs. If there is no another small pyramids for the wives, so the wives can be in a plateau or something normal. But if the queen looks like Hatshepsut, so she made for herself something valuable to be buried inside. So it is actually first for as a tomb, right? And the second thing can be related to astronomy for something. So from the space, as the scientific people, not me, people in astronomy say from the space photograph we can see 3 points on the Earth. These are the 3 pyramids. So they have high structure and well recognized from the space.
You said that in the very early stage of your history, the dead body was buried on the left side. Is there any reason? Well, actually, I cannot see well.
Yeah.
I prefer this side.
Yeah, nobody proved why maybe because always the east direction is life, west direction is death direction. The east side of the body is for healthy, Genki person, and the left side for the dead person. So always they have 2 positions, east and west, right and left. So they separate into 2 parts. But the other position looks like the baby in the womb like this. So looks like the tomb, like the mom womb, so they put it inside like his initial life started. This is the final life.
You have seen pyramids of Egypt and these kind of structures which was made by the great emperors, but I haven't seen any kind of castle or fort.
Yeah,
and no village type of structures which haven't remained That shows they only have great engineers that made only tombs, not good houses or castles.
I explain 2 points simply. Because the time of our presentation is very short, I even blame myself. I must show some temples, but I show Hatshepsut temple as example. But we have many other temples. We have a lot of temples, and the temples are related to the religious, because the king or pharaohs go to the temple to pray for his god. And the temples in ancient Egyptian time have its unique structure. It has the entrance and the major hall, and then when you go deeper in the temple, it is very dark and dark and dark. This is called holy area. Because religious, from the religious point, if you want to pray or to have some feeling with your God or something like this, so you go to dark place, quiet place, so you can pray. So this is the same in ancient Egyptian. They go from the main part to the central to the dark place. It's called holy place. You asked also a very interesting thing. Why I didn't show the houses of the ancient Egyptian? This proved that the ancient Egyptian believed with the afterlife, because they make the temples and the tombs from the very hard stone. But their houses are already found in Egypt, but they are made from mud brick. And relatively, the limestone and sandstone highly durable compared with brick, mud brick. And this confirmed that they didn't care with the houses of the life, and they are caring with the temples for praying, and they are caring with the tombs where they will live forever after that. So if you like something, you make it durable. If you are not caring with something, so they believe that our life is very short and will be finished quickly. So they make their houses from mud brick, which is easy weather. But the temples, because it is for praying, and the tombs, because it is for the afterlife, they make it from durable stone.
What is the starting age, exact age of the tallest pyramid?
It is in the 4th dynasty, which is about 4,200 years before the Roman.
And what is the dating method used?
What's that?
Dating.
Yeah, it is. We can make dating for this stone. This is Olithic limestone. We can make age dating. It is Pleistocene, geologic ages. But the age of the pyramids, it is dated not by radioactive material or something like this. It is known from the writings and drawings which have been written on Bardi paper on the walls of the temples. So the history is well known and well read from the walls. Because some people are specialized in reading the hieroglyphic language, which we have no idea, but some professors in Egypt, they can read hieroglyphic language. So when they read this hieroglyphic language, they know when this pyramid has been built, when this structure has been done.
And another is there is a temple in front of a vertical plate that is
Hatshepsut temple,
protected by UNESCO. So we are seeing that every building or construction in a scientific way. So what is the reason in the building this type of temple in front of this particular?
To be put in this place. Yeah, this is a good question. Always the Egyptian people wanted to make, looks like, as I said, panorama. So they found this cliff, very high cliff, was durable at this time, not highly fractured. It has some inclination like this, so it is durable. So they make this temple here to make adequate panorama form. But with time, these parts has been withered by weather. So the cliff is changed to vertical direction, and when it became vertical direction, it became to be fractured like this. So it became dangerous later. But at the time, in the beginning of building the Hatshepsut temple, it was safe enough. But now it is dangerous. That's why people working in engineering geology, structural geology, stratigraphy, in all branches of geologic science and engineering science, they start to accumulate the data, find solution for this problem under the UNESCO umbrella.
Any other questions? Okay.
On my email, everybody is very welcome to ask, because I have been working over 20 years since I was administrator until now. I'm 44 now, So I'm working 20 years I have got BSc in geology, but after geology I said I must be good for my country. I must apply my science of geology, my knowledge about the stone in something useful. Not to know Eocene, Oligocene, Miocene as geologists people do, but I must know why this stone, which I know each structure to somewhat, why it is weathered, especially for our history, and how can we do preservation and restoration. So I worked over 20 years in the laboratory in England, Germany. Here in Japan, I have learned so much. So I always keep my mind learning more and more about our history. Even I did many papers about England history, archaeological sites, weathering process. So I like this field. This is a very interesting field of research. So everybody is very welcome to ask about anything, presentation, part of our history, weathering process, the points of research in Egypt which we can do as much as I can. I will answer honestly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.